Okay, hello David.
Hello Suzanne.
It's an absolute honour and a pleasure to have you here in Spain with us. We've been waiting for a long time because we've been following your videos for quite a few years now, and on a personal level I have been absolutely dying for you to come over here because I've been talking a lot about your work, and I've spent the last 3 or 4 years being an absolutely crazy Irish woman.
There's a lot of them about, you know.
Following her heart, and I really needed somebody like you to come and set things straight so that I wouldn't feel all alone in my crazy little world. So
well, it's fantastic to be in Barcelona. Yeah. It's an amazing city. First time I've been here. Just the history of it and the buildings and the architecture. You've got to come. If you've never been, you've got to come. It's fantastic.
Well, this is your 54th city where you're coming to present your event.
54th country, yeah.
54th country, and that's bigger news as well, where you're coming to do your major event. And in fact, 1,500 people are waiting for David Icke on Saturday. They're going to be crowding up at the entrance, very anxiously waiting to get in and listen to you.
I've just been to the venue yesterday, and it's magnificent. It's like a football stadium, you know. I don't know whether to go and talk or take a ball out with me. It's just amazing venue. So I can't wait to start, really.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have a lot of hand claps. Yeah, a lot of people driving you on and making you very excited.
Well, it's extraordinary to me, Suzanne. It's surreal because I sit in my little flat in the Isle of Wight, just off the south coast of England, in my little office with my computer, and I just turn the stuff out and all the rest of it, and then you start travelling on tours like this. Like I've just been to New York and San Francisco and Lisbon and now to Barcelona, and I never fail to be shocked at how far this information has got out. You know. When you've got people coming up to you, you know, in a city you've never been to, doesn't speak your language, saying, you know, you inspired me to open up and to see things. It's so moving to me. It makes me want to cry, really. It just makes it all worthwhile, and it's a joy to do it. You know, it really is. It's a privilege.
Well, we mentioned to David that nobody here, in fact, knows his books because his books are still not published. In fact, the presentation of the book is going to be on Friday.
Just coming out, yeah.
Yeah, so he was so amazed that nobody had read any books, so he was wondering, where did all the information come from? Exactly, you know, for him to have such a big audience on Saturday.
I was staggered when they said how many was coming, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you've been on this pathway now for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And you started off...
And it don't seem a day too long.
Yes, 20 years is a long time, and it feels like it, I'm sure.
No, actually, I'm getting more energized, Suzanne,
yes,
actually.
Yeah.
I really am, you know. The toughest part of it was... putting the chairs out in dusty halls, no one sitting on them, and then putting the chairs back and going home. Poor when I arrived, that was the tough. This is a joy now that you get such energy from seeing the dominoes fall. It's fantastic.
When you came to Barcelona and you saw the big hall where you're going to be giving the talk, what did you feel? What did you imagine when you looked out there in those seats? What was your first reaction?
Well, the size of it, and how high it goes up, and you know, every time these days when I go to a venue like that, I think of speaking to 8 people in Chicago, and. I did another event the next night, and 4 turned up, so I obviously lost half the audience. But like I say, the word is surreal. It's like almost it's happening to someone else. You know, I went to Lisbon last week and walked out into a full hall in a country that where I've had no previous contact. Just amazing. But it's beyond me, and it's beyond what's happening in terms of what I do, it's the symbol and the confirmation that humanity is moving into another level of awareness, and that is just fantastic, because the world that we perceive and the world that we experience is simply the holographic expression of our state of being collectively. And because, you know, we've been suppressed and manipulated into these little boxes of perception that see ourselves as small and insignificant, and the world as something we cannot affect, therefore we project that limited, suppressed, a myopic state of consciousness out as a holographic expression. And so we live in a world of control, of suppression, of a sense of limitation of potential, of I can't, I'm little me, I could never. And as this awakening continues and expands, and it is this tour now, this few weeks since I last left England, New York, San Francisco, Lisbon, and here, I've been doing this for 20 years, as you say. Something shifted. Something has shifted. This is different. This is not like it was before. I get emotional about it because it's just so incredible to see humanity wake up, because you know that all these things that manifest as injustice, of violence and appalling treatment of children and all the rest of it, that is a manifestation of the state of human consciousness. And as we awaken out of that nonsense, out of that stupidity, out of that ignorance, and we're moving into a world for our children and grandchildren, and I intend to be around for the start of it, where the world that we've known is going to come down, and a very different world, a much better world, is a kinder, nicer, more conscious world is going to emerge. And it's fantastic. It's just such a joy to be involved with it.
It's just amazing what you say, David, because on a personal level myself, because I'm teaching a lot of people about waking up. I'm working with what I call philosophical psychiatry, is changing the mind and putting the Prozac in the bucket.
That sounds posh, doesn't it?
More Platon and less Prozac. I was giving classes to 20 people per class for these last 15 years. And just since, say, June, July, the classes are not 20, there are not 20 people in the class, there are 120 in the class. And there's a turnover of at least 120, and then a waiting list. And this is just all built up over the last summer. So this shift is moving really, really fast. But the surprising thing, on that level, when we're talking about energy therapies and all those kind of like sort of new agey themes, we're getting professionals who would have looked at that like as something really heebie-jeebie, really weirdo, right, years back. And we've got doctors coming into those classes, psychiatrists, the medical field, big bosses of huge firms, and the lady that cleans their toilet as well. You know, everybody's open up. Yeah, this humble and the simple people are moving in with these supposedly intellectual and people with high cultural levels, and they're all mingling together with no distinction under the same roof of, hey, where am I going? I'm looking for something else. I'm not going to stick with just what the system offers.
Well, this is people. Yeah. This is people moving out of the left side of the brain. The left side of the brain decodes everything as apart from everything else. It decodes things into a sequence. That's what we get time from, basically. And the right side of the brain sees everything as unified. This is why when you're connecting the dots in the world of how the world's controlled and how reality and the suppression of our sense of reality comes into that, you've got to get into the right brain. Because if you don't, you can't see the dots connecting, because all your left brain can see is dots. So when people start to expand out of the left brain prison, which the system systematically tries to put us in, education, media, and all the rest of it, then you do start to perceive everyone as the same, because you're moving out of that sense of apartness of the left brain, and crucially the sense of hierarchy. So I'm a doctor, you know, and I've been in medical school and all that stuff, and you clean the toilets, so really, well, someone's got to do it, you know. But that's what the left brain, in its extreme, would look at that situation. But others would say, hey, we're all consciousness having an experience. And this is why this hierarchical, very fiercely hierarchical structure of power we have in the world is a reflection, once again, of our state of perception, or our state of unconsciousness. As this awakening unlocks us from the left brain and we move into a much greater, more expanded consciousness, that rigid hierarchy is going to disappear from society, because we're basically going to conscientize, for a word, conscientize it out of existence. It's a manifestation of our ignorance, our sense of apartness. That's what hierarchy is. And it's coming down, which is great news, Mr. Rothschild, isn't it? Hey, looking forward to it. I should. You can be one with the rest of us then.
Yeah. We see the system as maybe mission control, trying to keep us in a very suppressed state. So what I'm seeing is, especially through people who are asking for help through therapy, they're coming with extremely altered nervous systems, being attacked from all levels, their health, their physical health, their mental health, even on spiritual levels. How do you see mission control out there manipulating our physical health?
Well, the whole of this reality, including the physical body, is, as you well know, doing all the energy work you do, it's a vibrational information field. It's a vibrational information construct, you might say. And we see stress as something emotional, okay? But what it is at its prime form is stress is a distorted vibration. So as we feel stress, it sends a distorted vibrational resonance through the blueprint of the body's vibrational field, and it distorts it. And therefore, it manifests as eventually as physical, emotional, certainly, dis-ease, disharmony. And then we look at all the chemicals in food, and we see them in this holographic world as chemicals. But if you take them back to their base form, they're of distorted vibration.